Welcome back. In this bit of teaching, we will learn briefly about the curriculum. The core training curriculum is broadly divided into basic sciences and clinical sciences. This is only a convenience kind of classification. There is no rigid division between the two, and they do flow very nicely between each other because they have applications of the principles. In basic sciences, you are expected to learn physics, which also includes some amount of mathematics, and then physiology, wide range of physiological subjects based on the systems you are expected to learn and demonstrate the depth of understanding, particularly with renal, cardiac, and respiratory physiology. And then we have clinical sciences, where you will learn about the initial bits of anesthesia, how to be practical about it in the first 3 to 4 months of your training, and by the end of which you will be assessed and made to go on call. And then further 18 months, you will learn about the basis of anesthetic practice, which involves different branches of anesthesia like day surgery, gynecology, ENT, and so on. With the increasing experience, you will also come across wide range of patient groups, like from young, fit, and healthy patients to really old and crumbly with lot of comorbidities. So far, we have learned about overview of existing resources and why there is a need for this kind of video teaching. Secondly, the aim of this video teaching is to deliver interactive teaching, which also gives conceptual explanation to the learners. So the learning becomes an enjoyable experience and also an aid to memory. So what is expected of you in each of the subjects, particularly the basic subjects? In physics, you are expected to learn the basic principles of various physical aspects of the subject, like pressure, flow, volume, electricity, and so on. And those physical principles will have an applied um, testing in the exam, and the physical principles are also used to learn about the equipments. Say, for example, you are learning about vaporizers that will have the principles like heat content, the vaporization pressure, the back pressure, the surface area, the boiling point, and so on. So those principles are learned. In physiology, you will learn the basic physiology of various systems and then their applied aspects in anesthesia, why a physiological parameter would change under anesthetics and how it will change and how to address the change to keep the patients safe. And then it will go on to be applied in pathophysiology, in pathological conditions, how the physiology would change and how an anesthetist should address it to keep the physiological disruptions to the minimum when they come to have surgery under anesthesia. Pharmacology, this is where many candidates do struggle because I do not know how they learn their pharmacology in medical college. Their general knowledge of the drugs is fairly superficial, and you are expected to learn in detail when you come to anesthetics and their systemic effects of each group of drugs. And also, there is a heavy thrust on the general principles of pharmacology, like how drugs work and what body does to the drugs. In other words, like pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, you will learn in great detail. So each of the subject matters, whatever is the subject, will be assessed through the Bloom's taxonomy of learning. So when you undergo assessment in the exam, you will be assessed at various 5 levels. So they will first test your basic knowledge. When you say knowledge, you are able to produce some facts and figures. That is your remembering. how much you remember. So once you demonstrate that you remember something about a subject matter, you will be assessed for your understanding. How well you understand, or you just parroted whatever you have learned. Understanding. And the third one, once you demonstrate some degree of understanding, they will see whether you are able to apply that knowledge in your practice. And analysis, whether that knowledge is just a factual knowledge or you are able to compare and contrast with respect to other aspects and to see whether that bit of subject matter that you have learned is um, useful to you, and if so, where. And finally, the synthesis. Synthesis is a very higher level of learning. It is for mainly the experts, I think, but you will be certainly assessed for all these 4 levels and mostly these 3 levels in all the subjects that you are learning in the core training. When it comes to clinical assessment or clinical learning, you have initial assessment of competencies. There are about 10 to 12 competencies that you have to learn in your initial assessment of competencies, which involves right from checking the patient to have the knowledge about the conduct of laparotomy in an emergency. So it's a wide range of subjects there, but you will be very well supported and taught through the first 3 to 4 months to achieve that competency. So once you achieve that competency, you will go on call. Then after you go on call, you will be undergoing further 18 months of training to learn about basis of anesthesia, in which you learn the curriculum in its wider aspects and then learn basic sciences and produce the evidence of your learning by doing workplace based assessments. So the workplace based assessments take the form of mini KECs, CBDs, and DOPS, directly observed procedural skills. So for each unit of training, say for example day surgery, you are expected to do 2 mini KECs and 2 CBDs and 2 DOPS. So they should be unrelated or sometimes be related, but you should be able to map it against the curriculum. Number of assessments, as I have told you, these are the minimum number of assessments that you are expected to do, 2 in each category for each unit of training. You can do more. There are certain units that are mandatory and well structured. Say for example, obstetric anesthesia. Obstetrics there is initial assessment of competencies in obstetric anesthesia, where you have to learn about 10 to 12 competencies and you will be assessed against each of them. And then there is a other set. There is a set of another 12 to 14 competencies. Altogether about 25 competencies in obstetrics that you are expected to learn.